What LinkedIn doesn't tell you, consider this. There are people getting thousands of views, but no business, and people getting valued clients on LinkedIn with almost no likes. Alarmingly, most people don't know why and remain in the dark because LinkedIn doesn't tell them how to succeed in its platform. Darlene, I talk to smart, accomplished business owners all the time who tell me I'm posting, I'm trying, I'm showing up, but underneath they're frustrated because they thought LinkedIn worked like this. I'll post, I'll gain visibility, I'll get clients, but you know what? That's not actually how the platform behaves anymore because LinkedIn has evolved. It's become a conversational platform, a search platform, a trust platform. And if you don't understand the hidden mechanics, you can work very hard with very little return. What do you think, Darlene?
Oh, absolutely. I'm really seeing this shift happening. And people often think that LinkedIn's success comes from posting more. But what I'm noticing is that the real traction usually starts through conversations, through someone's comments, someone sends a message, someone clicks a profile because something resonated with them. That's where relationships start forming. And honestly, I think many people are working very hard on LinkedIn without realizing that the platform is rewarding meaningful connections and trust more than activities. And by meaningful connections, I'm not just talking about collecting contacts, it means conversations where people feel seen, they feel understood and interested in continuing the relationship.
Great points. I appreciate what you're saying. And as we continue in our conversation, quick introduction. I'm Dr. Nancy Zare. I'm a sales psychologist. I help experts turn business owners become confident and assure of themselves in LinkedIn. And
Darlene Petrie, lead generation strategist, and I'm helping professionals turn their LinkedIn visibility into real business conversations.
so today we want to share three things LinkedIn doesn't tell you so that you can excel in attracting clients. And the three things are: one, your content is shown to non followers first; two, your profile is part of the algorithm; and three, your comments carry more weight than posts. And what's interesting, Darlene, is that all three of these points come back to one thing that most experts underestimate, and that's their profile. Because your profile is no longer just an online resume, it functions as a conversion point, which is exactly why we created the LinkedIn Profile Lab. It's an opportunity to make your profile work smarter for you in capturing leads. Now, let's start with the first thing LinkedIn doesn't tell you, that your posts are shown to non followers first. From what I understand, Darlene, LinkedIn is testing your content before it rewards it in other people's feeds. Most members don't realize that the algorithm is measuring whether your content provokes interest. And if you're like me, Darlene, I was surprised to discover that non followers see my posts first. I assumed that my own audience automatically sees what I write, but that's not how the platform behaves. LinkedIn often pushes your post into adjacent networks first to see if whether people like it. It sparks attention, it creates conversations naturally. And the platform's looking for these signals before broadcasting the content more widely. Would you expand upon that?
I have to say, I was absolutely surprised as well that my content went to strangers first. And the algorithm is noticing how people view and react to your content. The they people, want to know, do the viewers comment, save the post, click on the profile, and comment and engage in conversation.
Yeah.
And that engaging in conversation is really important. LinkedIn is paying attention to human behavior more so than the old marketing behavior. And that's where profiles unintentionally create friction instead of continuing the natural behavior. LinkedIn is not asking, is this informative? They want to see, would someone stop for this?
And that brings to mind a conversation I recently had with Chris Colt, champion of the 5-day challenge. He told me about an experiment, and for the last 90 days, he posted stories of transformations achieved by his clients. I mean, what could be more interesting as far as content goes? And although he received few comments, several people clicked on his profile, sent direct messages, and he explained to me that the algorithm showed it to the people who mattered, not his usual audience. Now, here's the big takeaway for me, maybe for you too. If your content sparks curiosity, people do something almost immediately. They click to view your profile. And within seconds, in fact, it's about 4 to 6 seconds, they're deciding whether to stay on that profile or move on. That moment matters more than what most people realize. And it's one of the first things we look at inside the LinkedIn Profile Lab, which is scheduled 2 weeks from today on May 28th. In just 90 minutes, you'll walk away with a key for how to optimize your profile. In fact, we'll be helping a few people actually optimize their profile right during that event. Now, this makes me think about the second thing that LinkedIn doesn't tell you, and that is your profile is part of the algorithm. Let me tell you what that means. Your profile is not separate from the content that you're posting. In fact, it actually affects your content distribution. Now, this should surprise you as an expert. This is one of the biggest shifts people don't see coming, and why many profiles quietly vanish without realizing it. Darlene, as a lead generation strategist, I know you help so many of your clients generate leads. What do you see taking place?
Right now, I'm seeing that LinkedIn is watching what happens after the clicks. People think the algorithm stops at impressions, and some people are quite, happy with when they get these, hundreds of impressions, but it doesn't stop there. LinkedIn is also noticing, are people staying on your profile? Profile, not on the comment that you're making, but are they staying on your profile? And are they, or whether or not they scroll, whether they connect, and whether the message, and whether they bounce. Your profile answers several unspoken questions, and many people don't realize that. Is they want to they want to know, is this person relevant to me? Do they understand people like me? Can I trust them?
Yeah.
Are they clear, and do I want more? And the hard part is most experts don't see how their profile is answering those questions.
Yeah, you're right on, Darlene. And that's why when we work with clients, the first thing we audit and optimize is their profile. In my experience, most profiles sadly create confusion. Why? Because many experts tend to over credentialize, that string of alphabet letters after the name. They over explain. They sound very corporate. They even over exaggerate because, we think we should hype it up, right? But the biggest issue, they make the profile about them, and we forget that everyone else is tuned to WIIFM. What's in it for me? So your profile must talk to your prospect about how you can solve their problem and benefit from your service.
And as the lead generation, I am very aware of the what's in it for me. And when I'm saying what's in it for me, I don't mean me. I mean the person that I'm talking to. They
Yeah.
need to be thinking the way that the way that person is talking to. So I look at people's profiles all the time, and I notice several common mistakes. Headlines say nothing meaningful. Usually it's identifying their credentials. And I have to say, I always chuckle when I hear you say about the alphabet soup of credentials. I mean, it's because some people have a lot. And about the about section, it sounds like you said, it sounds very corporate. There's
Yes.
nothing warm about it. And profile reads like a resume. And you have that piece down in the experience section. You don't need it in your about section. And there seems to be no emotional resonance. One of those words I have a hard time with. And there seems to be way too much information, and within all of that information, they're still very unclear about their positioning. So this is why the LinkedIn Profile Lab is vital, because we identify and fix those issues. And like you said, we have, the hot seat where people can actually have their LinkedIn, bring their LinkedIn file forward and be able to make those changes. Because really, most people can't see their own blind spots. And I want to say that because a couple of times people have even had their business names spelt wrong on their on their banner, and they didn't know it, and it was up for years.
Oh my gosh, it's so true. As you listed those common mistakes, I thought of the antidote, how your profile should create resonance, right? It should allow that person to feel like, wow, we're connected, you get me. It should speak to specific problems. Why? Because people are searching for specific problems. They're not searching for a bookkeeper or an IT consultant. They are searching for someone who understands my world, whatever that world might be. It should reflect the buyer's language. As a psychologist, I talk a lot about how buyers buy and how different words will connect with different personality styles. And lastly, the profile should create an emotional connection because people do business with those they know, like, and trust. The LinkedIn Profile Lab is a 90-minute hands-on workshop where you'll leave with tangible, positive changes in your LinkedIn profile. So while posts will open the door, your profile decides whether people will walk through it. And now, for the third thing LinkedIn really doesn't tell you, the people winning on LinkedIn are not posting the most. They're commenting. Commenting has really moved up in the algorithm and carries more weight than do your posts. This is because visibility flows through conversations. And when you comment on someone else's post, LinkedIn is going to reward that conversation by up-leveling you as well as the other person. And as a side note, remember, these conversations almost always lead back where? To your profile. Comments are not secondary behavior, although many of us treat it as somehow less than. They are relationship builders, visibility drivers, authority positioning, and trust accelerators. And something else, Darlene, most people don't know, a thoughtful comment can outperform a post. Care to elaborate?
Oh, absolutely. That is so true. Comments do many things. They place you inside the momentum. You're there, you're having those conversations, and they're talking to you. And you're inside the engagement, and you really want to be there. And also, you're inside active attention. Think of the comment as borrowing visibility from conversations already in motion. And I have to say, I stole that line from Nancy, and I love it.
I do too.
That visibility almost always leads somewhere. Next, it leads people back to your profile. Your
Are you
profile.
getting it? Your profile. So
Yeah.
if your profile doesn't continue this conversation, if people go to view your profile and within seconds they say, not for me, that momentum stops right there. That's actually one of the key things we look at inside the LinkedIn Profile Lab, how to make that attention turn into real conversations instead of disappearing.
Yeah. And another thing about comments is that they feel more human.
Oh,
It's
yes.
an opportunity to be conversational, you get to be spontaneous, you get to have a relational and real relationship. Especially now, comments reveal how you think. Anybody can, anybody can manufacture content. And a lot of people are getting AI to manufacture their
I
content.
know, a lot of noise out there.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas if it's your comments, your authentic, true comments, it will reveal your emotional intelligence, and that's really important. And your perspective. Don't you love to have your perspective out there, what you're thinking? And listening, like people are going to be listening to you and your nuance, timing. Comments are very credible when they become visible.
Yes. And again, we're talking about comments, not the one of, oh, great post or I agree. That doesn't work. Because what I've observed is that most people are treating these comments like they're leftovers and they're negating the value of being a commenter. In fact, I understand that you want to have about maybe 12 to 20 words per comment in order for the algorithm to see that it's something of value. And so LinkedIn is treating comments like relationship signals. And many people come to mind who I met through LinkedIn because we exchanged comments. For example, Michael Leibovich, Katie Karlovich, Justin Vako, Darren Gibb, just to name a few. And of course, you, Darlene.
Yes, we met on LinkedIn. Can you imagine that? Yeah,
Yes, through comments.
yeah, exactly. So the one thing that I've noticed is that some of the best business conversations don't start with a pitch. They start naturally in the comments. I remember commenting on someone's post where they were talking about the frustration of putting in so much effort into LinkedIn and they weren't getting any meaningful conversations from it. They would get the simple, the just simply shared conversations. And by sharing your observation about how often the issue is not visibility itself, but what happens after someone becomes curious enough to click on your profile. And guess what? A few days later, that person reached out to me directly and said, your comment really stood out because I felt like you understood exactly what I was experiencing. And that conversation eventually turned into working together. And I think that's the important shift that people are missing. Comments are not engagement, they're often the beginning of trust.
You bring to mind something that just happened recently. May is my anniversary month. And in fact, some of you who perhaps are connected and notice, receive messages about people's anniversary. Well, Andy Gwynn saw it and he messaged me back congratulating me. It's 14 years on the 14th. Okay. So this is propitious because today is May 14th. So he wrote back and he sent me a message. Well, that rekindled our connection, and now he's invited me to be a guest on an upcoming podcast. So
Ooh.
this is what LinkedIn doesn't tell you. Visibility is no longer about posting. It's about resonance, connecting with people, relevance, starting conversations, developing curiosity, and of course, building trust. Thoughtful comments will create all of these, and your profile will help to cement those relationships. That chain breaks when your profile isn't aligned. And that's why Darlene and I have created the LinkedIn Profile Lab before teaching engagement strategy. It's not generic optimization, which you can get through AI. but it's really hands-on guidance to help your profile create clarity, trust, resonance, and momentum based upon the personality style of your ideal client. The next session happens on May 28th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. We'll drop the details in the comments so you can take a closer look. Because traffic without clarity doesn't convert. The future of LinkedIn belongs to people who know how to create connection, not just content. The tricky part is that you often don't realize what's happening on LinkedIn and on your own profile. As Darlene said, we have blind spots. We can even misspell our company name. So, listener, what I hope you're noticing today is this. LinkedIn success, it's not random. There's a psychology to it, a behavioral component, a positioning component. And we've covered 3 things today about what LinkedIn doesn't tell you. Your posts are shown to non-viewers, non-followers first. Your profile is part of the algorithm, and comments carry more weight than posts. So as we close, I leave you with this thought. Most experts are far more credible than their profiles communicate. If today made you realize, my profile might not actually reflect the depth of what I do, we'll fix that in the LinkedIn Profile Lab. Because when someone lands on your profile after reading your content, would you rather that they deepen the conversation or stop the momentum? To your sales success, this is Dr. Nancy Zaire, sales psychologist, and
Darlene Petrie, lead generation strategist, helping professionals turn LinkedIn visibility into real business conversations.
see you on the 20th.